In America, about 40 million people live in poverty. And believe it or not, this number will look small in the next 30 to 40 years. Mass unemployment will be a tremendous social problem in America in the coming years. In this video, I'm going to talk about universal basic income and how it's the last hope and the only hope for a healthy and thriving society. What's good, everybody? I'm Lawrence, and this is my channel, Larry the Sociologist. Every single Monday, I drop social and political commentary right here on my channel. So if that's something you're into, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that like button so this video can have a higher rating. Poverty in America is something that we've always had our eye on, more or less, and something that we've even taken a couple cracks at getting rid of. Some of these ideas have been amazing, and some of these ideas could use a little work, for lack of a better word. We've seen a good example of how we tried to fight poverty during the pandemic, when there was $300 per week added to every unemployment benefit. And we've seen terrible examples and ideas of how we can fight poverty. Like in 2018, the Trump administration proposed to change how we calculate poverty so fewer families would live in poverty, and fewer families would qualify for government assistance. Because I guess that makes sense, right? Tired of poverty? All right, let's change what poverty means. Following this logic, if your doctor told you you had lung cancer, you probably hit him back with, oh no, those are just bruises because I've been coughing a lot. But the same way we help people that are in need and we help people that are impoverished with welfare and government programs will be the same way that universal basic income works. Universal basic income is a guaranteed monthly government income. This goes to everybody, regardless of how much they make on their job or if they even have a job. Like $1,000 per month to each and every person, period. I'll be calling it UBI here for the rest of the video. And by the definition of what UBI is, immediately the anti-capitalist in me clenches because I can't stand the idea of rich people getting yet another government handout. The idea is if somebody didn't have to worry about covering their basic needs, then that would give them more opportunity if they were impoverished to get a better job or to get a job.
It would give workers more bargaining power. With that kind of safety net, people might become more entrepreneurial and take more risks. They might free themselves from abusive figures in their lives. They might go back to school. They might make more art. They might choose to spend more time with their families or take care of their elderly relatives or volunteer in their communities.
This would be a great tool to decrease income inequality and to give everybody some kind of equal standing. One of the biggest oppositions that UBI has is the fact that we can't regulate where this money goes. We just give people money and hope that they use it to stimulate the economy somehow. One entrepreneur even went as far as saying, how do we know as soon as they get the money, they won't just go buy heroin and then be completely unproductive in society? First of all, I just want to say this is absolute nonsense because from empirical data, we can see that poor people are actually more responsible than rich people. And this is also crazy because why does heroin come to your mind every time you get $1,000? Sounds like you got some soul searching to do, big fella. The idea of universal basic income isn't new by any measure. Great Britain had a version of this called the social dividend in 1942, and it just fell to the wayside in comparison to larger programs. This has always been backed by professionals of all kinds of backgrounds. Dr. Martin Luther King, Milton Friedman, and Charles Murray, just to name a few. This idea is not new, but we do know that this is something that we'll have to implement over the course of the next maybe 20 years. There was even a presidential candidate who was outspoken on this very issue. All data currently points to the first jobs being replaced by animation are those of retail, those in fast food, truck drivers, and call center workers. And I know I might seem like the conspiracy theorist yelling the robots are coming, but I promise this is not just me talking. A management consulting giant, PricewaterhouseCoopers, estimates that AI and automation will contribute $15 trillion to the American GDP. And if that isn't enough evidence, the third quarter, just the third quarter of 2021, there was more than $17 billion invested into AI startups. When automation begins to replace these jobs, and we obviously won't have to pay robots, there's gonna be a lot of surplus, and the income inequality gap is gonna grow even wider because the CEOs won't have anybody under them to pay. With so many workers displaced, UBI will be the only way we can reconcile and bring forward any possible economic assistance. In the description, there's a link below including all of the different countries that UBI has been tried in, and even results of those trials in those countries. We currently know poverty is a problem, and we currently know that it's poised to get way worse than it already is. The big question is going to be, how do we move forward? We have to make sure we know what kind of UBI we want, and we have to make sure that we know what we'd be willing to give up for it. Because UBI, like everything else, comes at a price. That's it for this week, everybody. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and do me a favor and smash that like button. But drop in the comments down below, what would you do if you had $1,000 a month for the next 10 years?